This is a tutorial for how to layer a melodic dubstep drop, part 1. Today I'll be going over how to layer bass synths, but make sure to stay connected and subscribe because this is going to be a 3-part series going over how to layer your bass, supersaws, and lead. And for those who are new here, I'm YJ and my content is centered around all things music production, so make sure to hit that subscribe button because I'm posting new videos every week and you won't want to miss any of them. Now let's get into the video. So here I have my drop, and I'll let you guys have a listen real quick just to get the idea I had in mind. And now we'll go into my drop synths, and I'll show you how I layered my bass. And just as a side note, I like to separate the bass from the sub just so I can get a clean sub layer, but it's all personal preference and just do what sounds good to you. So here I have 4 layers for my bass and 1 layer for my sub, which if you are going to separate the bass and the sub, you should generally only have 1 sub layer so that it's clean and it doesn't clash with any other synths. And so when I'm layering my basses, I'll usually start with a saw layer as the foundation and just build up from there. So here's my saw layer, and I made it in Serum, which is pretty simple and not complicated at all. Usually it'll just be the saw wave, but I decided to add an anti-stasis wavetable, which is native to Serum, and pretty much all I have for processing is this distortion. And now once I have this foundational layer, I'll start adding more layers with sounds that add uniqueness or character to the overall bass sound. And typically for the layers, I'll go through several presets until I find one that I like. And another side note is don't be afraid to use presets. Nobody's judging you, and if they are, then just ignore them because everyone uses presets, and at the end of the day, it's how you use them. So the rest of these layers are actually presets, so I'll go through each so you can hear the slight differences in each sound. Now once you have all your layers, you can individually start experimenting with how loud you want each layer to add to the overall sound. And this is what I ended up with. And I like to have my layers grouped so I can process them on a group level all at once, so here's all the post-processing I have on my basses. And before I go over them, keep in mind the processing changes slightly for each song, so before adding a bunch of plugins, you want to understand what each of them are doing and know it won't be the same for each song. So here I have a multi-band saturation plugin, and what it's doing is adding some saturation to the mids. Then I have some OTT to kind of glue things together and balance out the frequencies. Then I have some more saturation and some EQ to accentuate where I want my basses to sit in the mix. Then I'll also carve out some 300 Hz range frequencies because those frequencies usually muddy up my basses. And now for the sub layer. This layer usually doesn't change for me unless I need to, but I have a clean sine wave with no effects within my synth, but I do add some saturation sometimes just to thicken up the sound if needed. Then I have some EQs to boost the sub-frequencies, and don't mind the several EQs I have here. Sometimes I like to have multiple so I can easily turn one off to see what it's adding or taking away, but this is definitely a little bit overboard. Then now I have all my basses and sub layers, and I'll go in and glue things together with a compressor, EQ, some frequencies if needed, and here I added a clipper just to flatten out the sound a bit. And yeah, that's it for the basses. If this was helpful, be sure to subscribe because it helps the channel a lot, and I'll be going over the supersaws and the lead in the next couple videos, so stay tuned for those. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.